So this is yet another question that touches on the capital asset pricing model chapter for an introductory to finance class or even an MBA or a first level CFA. Now, there's actually a pretty easy way to go about these new portfolio beta questions. Now I'm going to give you the frameworks and the steps to take if I were studying for my exam or my certification course. All right. The first thing that I would really highlight is to have your formula sheet open next to you. You want to be able to know what formulas to use at all times. Now, in the description below and on my website, you will find a bunch of sample formula sheets that you could use. So go for that. And let's jump into it. So in this case, we're dealing with some portfolio beta / new portfolio types of questions. So there's really only one formula that you need to use, and it's very straightforward. I just need you to understand that the beta of a portfolio is simply equal to the weighted average sum of its individual betas. Okay, so technically you could write the beta of a portfolio as simply being equal to the weight of A times the beta of A plus the weight of B times the beta of B plus three little dots to highlight continuity towards infinity times the weight of the nth portfolio times the beta of the nth asset or portfolio. So really, that's all that you got to do. That's the only formula that I need you to remember when doing something related to beta. Once again, it's important to understand that beta of a portfolio is equal to the weighted, essentially equal to the sum of the weighted betas. Okay, you'll see what I mean in a second. So let's read through this question together and let's get to it. Suppose you hold a diversified portfolio consisting of equal investments in each of 10 different equities, okay? And your portfolio's beta is equal to 1.9. Let's go ahead and kind of highlight information already, just to make this kind of simple for us towards the later part of the question. So if you see this on an exam, they tell you the portfolio beta is 1.9. What you're going to go ahead and do is you're just going to highlight this as being equal to 1.9. The beta of the portfolio is 1.9. So you know that you already have these two inputs. This is great news. This is actually awesome. You also know that this portfolio has 10 assets, okay? So if you were to do the little formula game that I did right here, you would have technically the weight of 1 times the beta of 1 plus the weight of 2 times the beta of 2 plus three little dots all the way to the weight of 10 times the beta of 10. And what's even more interesting, I hope that's clear by the way, but what's more interesting is that they told you that you have equal investments between every single one of these different assets or equities into this portfolio. So what does an equal investment actually stand for? What does that mean? Well, we could actually highlight it as being something as easy as this. And we'll use the pizza example. Let's say you get a good Domino's pizza and you have 10 people, all right? Well, if you were to equally divide the pizza among 10 people, you would have, I guess, if I could do some quick little art stuff, you would have this like that, I guess. You could have this like that. So now I have 6. Have this like that. Then I guess I could add another one like here. All right. So now we have 10 slices. Okay. Obviously, they're it doesn't look as good as it should, but you notice that we have 10 slices. And we would assume that in a perfect world, this was a beautiful little pizza. This was a beautiful little portfolio that's divided equally into 10 pieces. So what am I trying to say here is that every single stock within this portfolio will have the same weight. Essentially what you're going to do, although you don't need to do this on the exam, is just to give you some perspective, is that the weight of every single asset, because they are the same, would be equal to 100 divided by 10. In other words, the weight of one asset would be equal to 10% because they're equally spread out, okay? Just to give you some context. Is this needed for these types of questions? No. But if you want to understand why the trick I'm going to showcase works, it's important to understand that yes, this is equally weighted in that yes, we could clearly write that into our formula in a concise and cute way. So let's say that we decide to sell one of these stocks, all right? We decide to sell one of these stocks that has a beta of 2.43 all right? So we decided to sell, I don't know why it's not being straight, but there you go. We decide to sell like this one, all right? We decide to sell this slice of the portfolio. And we know that this slice of the portfolio, we're gonna call it like beta 10, is equal to 2.43, all right? And you wanna buy another stock with the proceeds of your sale, okay? You wanna buy the stock of Microsoft, which has a beta of 0.93, all right? So this is really interesting. You're gonna take the beta of, let's call it stock 10, which is 2.43, and you're going to exchange it for the beta 10 prime, which is going to be our new stock that has a beta of 0.93. That's awesome stuff. So clearly, once again, we could see that this number here will change, all right? This will change. This piece of a pizza will change. Now, I'm really doing this to give you context, and you'll see why this gives you context in just a second. Now let's follow my magic trick to solve these new portfolio beta questions. All right, our mission is to solve for the new portfolio beta once we execute this sale and purchase. So we're selling one stock to purchase another stock. Okay, so what you're going to do is we're just going to write a few things. The first thing is that we're going to say the sum, right, of all of our individual betas in our portfolio, right, for 10 different assets is equal to, essentially, if you look at it, right, it's going to be equal to 1.9 times 10. The reason why it's equal to 1.9 times 10 is because we know that our portfolio beta is equal to 1.9, and we know that we have 10 stocks, right? And we know that it's equally distributed such that you could simply do 1.9 times 10. A little trick for math, such that the sum of all your betas for your portfolio would be equal to 19, okay? Right, think about it, still, 19 divided by 10, and we know this is equally divided. Technically, we could have a theoretical world in which every single beta in our portfolio is 1.9. And this would be the beta of our portfolio, okay? Because we're assuming that they're all equally distributed. So that's one way to look at it, okay? Maybe not the best explanation, but definitely a good trick nonetheless. So for our 10 different betas, when we add them all up together, we would have a beta for portfolio of 19, right? But now we're telling you that we're going to sell one of them, all right? So we can put this in like red. So we're going to sell the beta, the stock with a beta of 2.43, such that now we're going to have 9 assets in our portfolio, and the total sum of our betas in our portfolio would be equal to 19 minus 2.43, such that it is now equal to, if we could do some quick math, 16.57. I hope my math is not disappointing you. That should be correct. Plus 2, 18, 43, yeah. So that's going to be equal to our new portfolio beta if we had 9 assets, 9 stocks, 9 equities. But now we're going to buy, right, Microsoft for the same weight, for the same 10%, such that we could say that our new portfolio beta for 10 stocks would be equal to 16.57 plus 0.93. So that would be, I don't know if I do the math quick, that was going to be 17.50, if I could say, such that we're going to have essentially this being 17.50. All right. Now we know that that's the total sum of the portfolio betas added up together, but we need to find the portfolio beta. So we could divide this by 10, right? And that's going to give us 1.75 as being our portfolio beta. So the trick is kind of dope in practice. And it actually makes it super quick to solve these types of questions. This is really something that I would add into my cheat sheet. We don't need to make this any more complicated. I tried to give you some sort of insights on it, albeit not probably the best framework. This is still the best methodology to use to solve for new portfolio betas when we're quickly doing a sell or a sale to purchase another asset. Another thing that I'd like to say just to give you like maybe some sense checks that you could use on an exam. If we're selling one specific asset with a huge beta, and then we're using that sale to purchase another asset with a smaller beta, it goes to like, it has to be obvious to you that the portfolio beta will be smaller afterwards. Notice how our portfolio beta went down to 1.75. Well, yeah, for sure. We took our proceeds and we purchased a safer stock with less systematic risk. And for that reason, we're going to have a portfolio beta that is going to be smaller. So that's just a little bit like some added context that could be useful here. So that said, I hope this gave you an introductory view on how to solve for new portfolio betas and how to do it quickly. Hopefully the context also helped. With that said, there's literally like so much resources on ismahelps.com, on my YouTube channel, and just simply by looking up Isma Helps online, you'll find a bunch of resources that will empower you to make your business learning process something that's more human, interactive, and accessible. It's literally free. I don't know what else that you could have access to, and I'd be more than happy to help doing that as well. So that said, hope this helped you out. Au revoir.